we had obviously hoped for. And so I thank you for the work you did with us in having that contract considered and approved at the end of the year. The latest information that we have gotten with respect to ROC's anticipated turnover is sometime at the end of January. And so there are some things that they obviously have to work on, and we are in touch with them on a regular basis. In fact, I know that CGL, who's here representative, has a meeting with them later on this afternoon, and they're going to be discussing some of those matters. And so as I get more information, I'll continue to keep you up to date on things, but we're very happy with the progress that has been taking place. And we have turned the bulk of our attention into issues related to turnover and move-in. And so we're happy to present to you today kind of that general plan and answer any questions. I know you have to be out by in less than an hour. We won't keep you a minute past 1:35, and we'll go from there. What I will tell you, even though we haven't achieved turnover yet, we are ready to put our plan into action, and we are extremely confident that this thing will go as efficiently and smoothly as humanly possible. And so with that, I will introduce some of the folks around the table who you do not yet know, but we'll hear from, and we'll take any questions. Start with John.
John Gilligan with Oneida.
John, excuse me, would you hit your microphone? There's a little button. So just says push, just touch, basically.
Sorry about that. John Gilligan with Oneida Solutions Group.
Aaron Wagner, Chief Administrative Officer.
Tamara Knapp Advisory, part of the MOVE team.
Christopher Merritt, outside counsel, Zausmer.
And so with that, I will turn it over to Tamara.
Great, thank you. Yep, I'm ready. You may move right on to slide 2. Thank you. So first, we're just going to talk about the transition teams, which has been instrumental. Yeah, it's on. You want me to move it closer?
Yes. Please.
Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, great. For years to be ready for this move. There are 9 stakeholder transition teams comprised of over 40 employees from each of those stakeholders. The transition teams have dedicated thousands of hours in preparation for the move to the CJC and will continue to do so even after occupancy with the help of the full team, Oneida, myself, CGL, and Friedman, the property manager. All of the hard work of all of the teams, including county administration, basically everyone working on this project, is to ensure a successful opening. Oh, sorry. Okay. So the county hired myself, Tamara Knapp, and Oneida Solutions, John Gilligan, who you just met. Morris Moving is part of their team as well to help the county transition, and the project representative CGL to prepare and execute the physical move. A little bit about myself. I've been in the commercial real estate world for actually over 30 years and have extensive experience in design, development, day-to-day operations, and large-scale occupancy. During my 9-year tenure as Bedrock Detroit's Chief Operating Officer, I brought 118 properties online and actually was familiar with this project while I was at Bedrock. Oneida Solutions Group and Morris Moving. They're a certified moving consultant with a team of certified relocation professionals. They are partnered with Allied Van Lines and North American Van Lines, and they're ISO certified. I think it's important to mention that between myself, CGL, and Oneida and the county, we basically talk to these teams every day. And if we don't talk to them, it's multiple emails back and forth. And we've been doing that for several years with them, really working hand in hand in tandem with all of the different things that they've been working on. So we'll talk a little bit about timing. Some of the members of the transition team and the county facilities team, would be Greg's team, will move into the CJC immediately upon turnover to help prepare for occupancy. These transition teams will engage in activities, testing equipment, making sure furniture is working, setting up common areas, organizing supply cabinets, things like that. Everyone else will move in roughly 4 months after turnover. So as an example, if turnover occurred on January 31st, the move would happen around June 1st. Once that begins, it's expected to be completed in 4 weeks. The move will be done in phases based on security and operational needs. Week 1 is the adult detention facility. The adult population needs to occupy prior to the courts. So inmates are settled once the court relocates and resumes operation. The sheriff also serves as the central hub for the complex and oversees master control. Therefore, it's essential that they are the initial occupant. Additionally, by going first, the ADF can get its food services operational because it supports both the ADF and the JDF. The sheriff is actually doing the physical move of both the ADF adults and the JDF residents, and they want to make sure that both residential buildings are settled and secure before relocating additional stakeholders. So following ADF would be the JDF. Then week 3 is the courts, the clerk, the prosecutor. These teams work day to day with each other. They've planned their move together and they're relocating together. The last 2 groups, week 4, will be the sheriff's administration and the MDOC. So by week 5, the entire facility should be fully operational and occupied. One of the great things about bringing Oneida on board is they have an arm, Morris Moving, but Oneida is a full service moving company. And what's great about that is not only can they actually do the physical move, but they're going to help teams prepare for the move, all the way through providing the packing materials, packing assistance where necessary. They'll manage the removal of wall hangings as well as disconnecting and relocating and installing all of their computers and printers and technology. Oneida will also support in identifying discarding items that are no longer usable. By tagging these for recycling and disposal now, it will allow us for prompt removal as soon as the facilities are vacated. Every item moving to the CJC will be inventoried so Oneida knows where to take it. These teams have been spending a significant amount of time inventorying items to determine their new location. So not only are they determining what has to move, but where they have to go at the CJC. They've also been planning and documenting where each team member will sit. The transition teams have been provided with unique color-coded labels, so each stakeholder will have a different label so it's easily identified. Everything moving to the CJC gets a label, and each label directs Oneida to a specific room, all the way down to a specific desk, if that's applicable. All of these efforts will enable Oneida to relocate every item to a very specific location. So when it comes to unmoving, these teams don't have a pile of items that have been relocated. They'll be right in the position where they should be. The transition teams have also been given instructions on where to place the labels, again, so they're easily identified. The majority of the items that are being moved are tech-related: computers, printers, files from filing cabinets, books, office supplies. Most furniture, desks, chairs, and tables, as well as filing cabinets, are new and will be provided at the CJC. Oneida's intention is to make the move as easy as possible for team members. They will provide guidelines, written guidelines with detailed instructions on how to pack materials, crates for smaller items, all the way down to details. You know, what do I do with all of these pens? How do I pack them? So they're going to walk them through all of that. Special crates and labeling for confidential items, special bags for technology items, and instructions for specialty and large items. For example, how to move flags or how they need to package that. As we get closer to the move dates, Oneida will schedule an in-person how-to session with each of the stakeholders to cover specifics. Additionally, I would like to add the transition teams will work with individuals on packing up supply closets, common areas, break rooms, things like that. Prior to each stakeholder's move, Oneida will verify the piece count. And what that means is the number of crates, computer bags, equipment for each employee, and they add that to a move manifest. Once those things are packed into the trucks are sealed at pickup, and those seals are not unbroken until they're delivered to the CJC. Upon delivery, Oneida will then verify that each item unloaded matches against the move manifest as they were packed. Oneida is also prepared and it has extensive experience in moving in all types of weather, rain, wind, snow. They're based in Romulus, and their CJC move team includes more than 45 movers and drivers and a fleet of moving trucks. They also have additional locations that they can pull from if necessary. So one of the other things that was really particular when we were researching moving companies is they talked about inspecting every item before they're loaded onto the truck to make sure that they're properly packed and protected for relocation. Additionally, for delivery at the CJC, they're going to make sure and safeguard that floors, walls, new elevators, interiors, all of these things are protected from damage at move-in. They also track items to ensure through the manifest proper delivery, which also provides a chain of custody, which was a concern for some of the stakeholders. Once they move in, Oneida will then come in and pick up all of the packing materials, boxes, and crates after the move is complete. The stakeholders will not need to worry about what to do with those. Immediately after completing the move to the CJC, Oneida will begin the process of disposing items that are left behind. This is known as decommissioning. You've probably heard this term, and you're going to hear it a lot more as we go through the process. The transition teams at Oneida have been working to clean out the current properties. They've been disposing broken and non-working items, labeling unused equipment, preparing removal for materials in advance that have specific requirements. Basically, they're doing all of this now in preparation for the quick turnaround of these buildings once they're vacated. Again, our goal is to make the move and transition of services as easy as possible for the transition teams and the stakeholders, allowing them to focus on the occupancy and relocation of team members, inmates, and residents, all in addition to performing their day-to-day job. A significant amount of planning and preparation goes into the coordinating of a move of this size. It has a lot of complexity, and this work has been going on for years in the background. Now that construction's winding down, we're starting to put all of these plans in place to ensure that successful opening.
And so I just want to add one thing too. You heard a lot about the integral role that the transition teams play in this, and all of that is true. And I want to thank them for their work, because we would not be able to have made the progress that we've made without them. But I just want you to know as well, their involvement is not just with respect to transition and move-in. And so, you know, all along in reviewing the drawings, reviewing the state of construction, helping us with punch list items, these same teams have been engaged throughout this project. And so they've played an invaluable role. And I just want to go on the record of thanking all of them for the work they've already done, and especially what they're going to be doing as we move forward.
Is that the end of your presentation?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, all right. I know Commissioner Clemente has a question. I have one also. Oh, the question I had is, will there be a beefing up of security at the facility as this process is going on, the move-in, once it starts? How will that be handled? I mean, is there going to be additional sheriff deputies around watching what's going on and
So
securing?
So as part of this process and in preparing for the move, but also for how things are going to run in the facility after we start operating, the Sheriff's Department has prepared a security plan in looking at all of the needs that that we're going to have, and we've reviewed it, and we're very comfortable with what they have put into place. And so the answer to that is yes, Commissioner.
Can I add one thing to that, James? In addition, there's an existing county vendor security exterior contract has been amended to provide 7 months of 2 roaming exterior security guards for the CJC while transition and move-in is happening.
Okay. The other thing I had was well, I'll go to Commissioner Clemente. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for asking about the security. That was one of my questions. The other question is human error. So you're going to be putting all these labels on. Is everyone instructed if there's not a label, it doesn't move? And the security of the labels being put on the equipment in the boxes. I did hear that the moving is, all kinds of weather, but what about that labeling? And if something happens, how does it get to where it's supposed to be? Or if there wasn't a label, it stays. And then my other question is, things that are not being moved, where do they go? If you know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a label question issue.
No.
There we go. Sorry about that. So the labels will be on. Is there a problem, or is there a possibility that some are going to fall off or something like that? It's yes, it happens. What we do is establish a lost and found. So nothing is taken out of the existing buildings to go over unless it has a label on. And then what happens is at the end of the day, if something was not labeled, the stakeholders have a chance to come back and say, oh, I wanted to bring that, or I needed this and that, and we let them back into the original building to get that. So that, and the lost and found will be a general spot that everybody will know where it is, so they can come look and see if there was something there. And we'll have that notified off that manifest. We'll know if something's missing. We go there first to see, but we wouldn't move the box from there until we have the stakeholders to make sure it's their item. And we're not, and what we don't want is our employees have to be looking all over for their things. They're going to be central areas.
And for ease, Oneida has also put together an email address. So it's very simple for stakeholders. They don't have to go looking for a name, a phone number. It's one email address, whether they need a box last minute, they need a label, they're not sure where something went, they have a question. It's one place for them to send all of their questions to.
Additionally, the transition teams are actively keeping inventory records of all items that are to be moved to the building that would be subject to public auction if we are not bringing them into the CJC, or if they're beyond life and would be disposed of. And so we have those inventories to reconcile against in case some things were to go missing.
One question I had as far as this presentation, have you already provided that to our offices?
We did, sir. Yes.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
While we're in the meeting.
Oh, okay. All right. And the next, Commissioner Marecki.
I'm sorry. So we didn't provide it to each office individually. But we did,
Clerk.
we did distribute it through the normal process so it could be viewed here on the screen, but we will, if another copy needs to be sent, we'll make sure we get that to you this afternoon.
Can you send it to all commissioners? Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Joe's indicated he'll send it to everyone.
Thank you. My question is, as far as the people in the jail and JDF, is the sheriff's department going to be able to do that themselves? Or are they hiring anybody to help them actually move the prisoners?
So I can answer that if you like. They have a very detailed plan in place for transport. And due to the sensitivity of that and whom they have involved with that, they really don't want to go into a lot of detail, if that makes sense. But they have a very detailed plan. We've been reviewing that plan with them. We're very confident that they will have everything in place to make that happen efficiently, both with the inmates and with the JDF residents.
Okay, so they can do it. They're not hiring outside help to. You know,
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter. I mean,
But there,
I get
yes,
it. You can't get it.
we feel very
there.
confident
Okay.
on what their plan is.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners at this time? Anything, was there something else that, that you wanted to bring up, at all? I mean, I
Well,
think you mentioned that that was it, right?
yeah, through the chair, you know, items that are not being brought over to the CJC, per our disposition of property ordinance and they would be going out, to, or for a public bid. Items that are, beyond life would be disposed of. Oneida is contracted to bring dumpsters to make sure those items are removed. So at the time of turnover, those buildings will meet all of the contractual obligations that the county has to turn those buildings over without any repercussions.
Okay.
I'd also like to add to that, Aaron, if I may. The intention also is to recycle as much as possible. So not just putting stuff in dumpsters, that would be a last resort. Tables that are unusable, you can even recycle tables. So Oneida is very well prepared to do that, to make the most of recycling efforts.
The only thing I'd like to leave you with, number one, is thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about this and for your questions. This is not the last time we're going to talk about transition. It's the first time we're really talking about it in any detail. Our plan for our future sessions when we meet is to kind of continue to give you an update on where we are, what progress we're making and the like, so you will continue to feel comfortable with where we're headed. And so this is the beginning of the conversation, not the end. And so if you have any other questions that come to mind, please feel free to forward them over to me and we will address them as we have future subcommittee meetings.
So, besides the items that you think we'll be able to recycle or use at the new location, is this going to be a public sale of the properties, some of the items that are, I don't know, because I know we've got a lot of things in warehouses right now. So,
Yes, and so it would follow the same order. It would be a public auction. It would be announced.
Mhm.
You know, parties would have the ability to review pictures of what we have posted for sale. I don't believe at this point there's going to be a tremendous amount of furniture just because of the condition of what we have in most of these facilities. But you know, those items that there is value, that, you know, fall, that are in better condition of the scrap and or the disposed of, we will make every effort to sell at a public auction.
do we expect any lag time between when they're moving from one location to another and being up and running and having hearings and whatever else needs to be done that's taking place currently at other locations? Is there going to be any lag time when their computers are all unplugged and being transported over, and how long to take to get that all up and running?
So, you know, whenever you have a move, there's obviously going to be some sort of, you know, once we get an understanding of exactly when our transition turnover date is going to be, and we start getting into greater detail about exact dates. So I'm, you know, I think we're going to have some important conversations with the Third Circuit Court, and we've already begun that because they have moving parts involving the public,
Yeah.
which are important in terms of juries, panel members, potential panel members coming and the like. And so we're taking into account that sort of information, and we're working very closely with the chief judge on that. And so that's an example of the sort of thing that we're going to update you on as we have future communication with the committee.
Okay, Commissioner Kenlock.
Yes, a couple of things. So I'm glad to hear that you have a security plan to address the time, I guess, the move-in times. But one thing I wanted to ask, does that security plan entail, as the building is open and being exposed with, I guess, the movers going in and out of the facility, that there's a sheriff deputy there and present while they're going in and out of the building, or just to make sure that there's security there. This is a, you know, I guess a law enforcement facility. So definitely want to make sure that you try to, I guess, consider some of those sort of issues.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
It's an important point, and the answer is yes.
Okay.
It's something we've taken into account with respect to our security from the moment that we turnover has occurred and we take the keys. We recognize it's our responsibility to secure that building, and we've taken that into account.
okay, and then also, as the commissioner mentioned, as the chair mentioned, when you're talking about the actual, I guess the operation when things are coming online, wanted to add some of those external organizations such as DDOT and how that conversation is progressing as far as making sure that I guess there's some sort of transition or some sort, we'll have an idea as far as how any sort of changes will reflect, you know, the building coming online as far as their routing and all of that.
Not only with respect to that, but also with some of the construction that we've talked about in the surrounding area. And so the city of Detroit's been a wonderful partner with us in that regard. In fact, we have a meeting with the city tomorrow to further our discussions along those lines. And so we're happy about the progress that we're making. And some of that information is going to be coming before this body in the weeks and months to come, because there will be some things that the commission will have to approve with regards to that. And so thank you for the question.
Okay.
And that is something that is happening. I know you were on the ground floor in reaching out to the city, and I appreciate your efforts in that regard, Commissioner Kinloch.
No, thank you. And the last question, the question that we've been all dealing with from time to time, and that is the parking arrangements, you know, as the building comes online for the employees, and how that information will be. I'm sure it'll be a trail or a system of communicating with the employees on the parking arrangements, but more so, I know we were talking about construction of certain parking locations and all of that. The whole question surrounding parking, will all of that, you know, I guess, transition or come online pretty much at the same time?
Yeah, so it's that's the $64,000 question. Everyone wants to know where exactly they're going to park, and we are we have developed a parking plan that we are reviewing at the highest levels of county government, and we think that is one that is going to accommodate all of our needs, and we are going to be rolling that out to our stakeholders, both for our on-site parking lots as well as the 4 off-site lots that that we are constructing. Construction on those lots is continuing, and we are confident that they will be ready by the time the CJC opens for the public and for the employees to start coming in. We are also, and I know that the commission has been very interested in the shuttle or a shuttle to help bring people, employees to the facility. And so that's something that we are working on as well. We're proud of the fact that the off-site parking lots are in extremely close proximity to the CJC. Actually, it's a shorter distance between our off-site lots and the CJC than between the Guardian Building and First Street, where so many of our employees park. Nonetheless, we recognize, especially on a day like today, shuttle would be very important. And so those are all things that we've heard the commission on, and we are working on. And so, yes, we will be rolling out that plan, Commissioner Kinloch, about where folks are going to park, both visitors, employees, and that's something that I'm sure there'll be a fair amount of discussion with once that goes online.
And finally, you know, we discussed it during the budget process, and also when you all came before commission, the question of has it been determined whether or not the administration's going to recommend free parking for the public? The public was the thing that I believe associated with parking that was outstanding, determination on that. Jurors and the public, there was jurors and public, there were some conversations that we made.
So as you know, the county executive has indicated that would be the case with respect to employees. He's not made a formal announcement with respect to visitors as of yet, and not to get ahead of him in that regard. But as soon as that official determination is made, the commission will be the first to hear about it.
Thank you.
I did want to add one thing with regard to security that I think is pretty important is all of the movers all go through security clearance through the sheriff's office.
Any other questions from committee members? Anything additional you want to add?
No, we just appreciate the opportunity
Okay.
to speak with you and hear your thoughts. Thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you.
you saved yourself from having to provide a different lunch than for all of us. If you ran over, but anyway, well done, and I think we pretty much covered everything. Thank you very much. There's nothing else? Yeah. Yeah, just got them, just got the emails. Thank you. Thanks, Darcel. And our committee clerk,
Item
next
E-
item.
Next item, item E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I'm not aware of any. Either of you? Clerk's office didn't receive anything? Okay. Next on the agenda,
Item F, public comments.
are there any comments from anyone present here? Do we have anyone online that's have a comment? Okay, seeing none,
And there were no emails received.
no emails? Okay, thank you. So next item,
Item G, adjournment.
Support.
got a motion and support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.